again.
What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB DFS Wise Stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I'm joined once again by the GOAT, the true OG, Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 D's. Paulie, I'd be glad to tell you what Clevenger did. You didn't hear what he did? He snuck out of the bubble with Plesac. You didn't hear about that? So he snuck out of the bubble with Plesac. He got caught coming back in. And, I mean, he didn't have COVID or anything, but the team obviously suspended him. And there were players like Ali Perez. A few players came out and said, if he's still in, I'm fucking out. And a bunch of players said, like, fuck this guy. He's because they're all, some of these guys got families and shit that they're trying to be safe and protect from. And he went out and he didn't give a fuck. He just went out there and, met with his buddies. So that's the reason in my articles I keep calling him a dick. And as somebody who's got a pregnant wife at the moment and I'm dealing with shit like this in my own life, like, that's the reason I keep, I keep pounding the guy.
What if he was sneaking out to pick up weed?
I mean, I could relate to that, but listen, bro, like even me, I would stop smoking weed for the millions of dollars. I would. No problem. You know what I mean? No problem.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for the millions, but he's already got those. It's just, he's in the bubble, can't do shit. He needed some bud, and he was like, I'm gonna risk it,
But bro, he snuck out with his boy, man. They go meet up and get some dinner, man. Not for no dinner.
No.
But he's back though, so evidently it's not that bad. So it must have been some really good stuff. I like how now it's not like a hypothetical anymore. Now that's what it was. Yeah, he snuck out to get weed. It just became.
I mean, what else would you?
What else? There's no way it was just for food. He wouldn't risk all that for food or social companionship. Pretty wild day, man. The NBA went and boycotted all their games, led by the Milwaukee Bucks, understandably so, with the incident happening in Milwaukee. I'm not gonna speak on the politics of the whole thing because we're just here to discuss sports. But NBA is done. I did hear, for the sake of news, the Brewers I think have decided to boycott their game. So we'll wait and see if any other MLB teams decide to follow suit. But the Brewers, as expected, I think, being that they are in Milwaukee, the game is in Milwaukee, have decided to boycott the game. We'll see what the Reds do, because I guess technically, if the rest of the games go on, I guess technically the Reds could just say, well, we didn't want to boycott, we want to win. They would be the ultimate dicks, obviously, if they did that. But we do have to wait and see. They're struggling, so I'm just saying. They're really struggling. With that said...
So, do you... I mean, I know we don't know the answer to this. It's kind of rhetorical, but, there's a chance another team decides to do the same thing after lock. Let's see.
I mean, aside from the teams, there's a chance that certain players could. Taijuan Walker is pitching for Seattle today, right? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's racist to just say because he's black he may do it. Because I know Jack Flaherty's like a huge, social rights activist, or at least he likes to be on Twitter. So if he was starting today, he may be a player that decided not to play at the very least. So you're right. Like we could get some teams that decide later to follow suit. We could get some players that just decide they're not going to do it. I have no idea what to expect. Obviously, we've never really encountered something like this. In addition to COVID, because there's other variables. We got the COVID thing going on. There was almost not a season to begin with. There's only 60 days. Like the Mets are playing like 6 games in like 2 or 3 days because they had the COVID thing. So like they clearly don't have time. They're just jamming things up. Like if you have a rain out, you're doing a doubleheader instantly. It's like, it's just a crazy time in general for the entire country in the world, but America. I don't know.
Exactly.
But that is a really good point. I mean, we won't know. So there's late swap. Will have to be. I'm sure DraftKings and FanDuel. I'm hoping FanDuel. DraftKings already kind of said publicly with the NBA games before all 3 of them got canceled. DraftKings already said they were going to make it right. Now they're all canceled, so there's nothing anyway. But I'm not sure how they would handle it with baseball if there was say there were like 4 or 5 games out of the 10 that were canceled. Like at what point do they say, okay, there were too many cancellations, we're going to do the right thing? Or do they say, hey, listen, you had 5 other 10 to 5 other games to pick from. So there's a lot of question marks, man. A lot of question marks in a situation, like I said, that none of us have really you know, been through before.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, shout out to those of you who are hanging out with us. I mean, it's the same deal. We're gonna do our best to navigate because I know some people still got to make money and still got to find ways to, feed themselves, aka me. So we will do what we do and try to figure this out and try to ultimately do dirties if the dirties are allowed. If no dirties are allowed, then dirties are allowed. If the MLB decide to cancel all the games, and so be it. That's what it is. If they decide to play, we got to try to make some money. So it's a weird situation to be in. Don't know how to feel, other than confused and anxious, waiting for whatever we're gonna get. But we did hear that from what I'm hearing, Christian Yelich I think he was like announced that the Bucks are going to boycott the game. So we'll take it from there. Pitching, Paulie.
Yeah. So unfortunately, FanDuel started their slate early like a bunch of dicks, kind of like Clevenger. And, there's two other games in the mix that we got to account for. Pitching-wise, I don't think there's much on that front. So we don't have to worry about that for pitching. On the high end, I'm always a big fan of DeGrom against the Marlins. It's where he started his wild run of being a dominant pitcher. I was at that game. I feel responsible, and he's dominated Miami ever since. And I like to use him against them, but this is a deep pitching slate. He's pretty expensive. They're expensive bats, so I don't know how much I actually will. But if I could, if price wasn't a thing, if I was playing cash, he'd be the first guy put in my lineup. I think you want to get some Clevenger, even though he's a dick. Like, he may want to win back his teammates with his play, that kind of thing. Minnesota has not been the offense they were last year. And he does the dirty behind the mound for the most part. He's a really, really good pitcher. Minnesota doesn't strike out a ton, but I don't think that matters with elite aces like this. I like the price tag. This guy's normally above 11K. So I've got some interest there. Had interest in Sonny Gray. He's gone. Really like Dinelson Lamet. And that's it, above 8K.
So real quick, number one, FanDuel players, we did not forget about you. I did for a second, but I did remember. So we'll discuss the couple FanDuel games that are not on DraftKings. But before that, I did get an update from Jeff Passan, MLB Insider. Following the cancellation of the Milwaukee Brewers and Cincinnati Reds game tonight, more teams are discussing the possibility of not playing. Among those currently discussing it, the Seattle Mariners are one of them, who have the most black players of any team in the MLB. Again, that's a later game. So you could just set your teams, think you're good, go for a stroll, and then the dirty could be done to you. So, again, it's going to be important that we all keep an eye out on this kind of stuff. With that said, Paulie, before I touch on the pitching, we got the Red Sox, Toronto, which is really in Buffalo, which has been an awesome hitter's park so far. It's just been runs. They're very rarely on any slates, but the runs have just been glorious there. And then we have Asher Woj and Trevor Richards of the Rays. Just real quick, if you could touch on these two games, because one of them, they both lock in about 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes. So,
yep. Do like the offenses in Boston, Toronto. Bullpen game basically out of Boston. This guy Brewer shouldn't go much more than 3 or 4. Really like the Toronto bats. Grichuk, Biggio, Rowdy Tellez, Vlad, Teo Osk. Travis Shaw has been doing well in the 3-hole. Lourdes Gurriel. And the Boston bats, I don't think Sean Reed Foley's really that good. He can get beat up. Good park. Give me some Xander. Give me some Devers, who's been really hot. Alex Verdugo's been hitting the shit out of the ball at the top of this lineup. JD Martinez. I don't mind that. The Baltimore-Tampa Bay game, I'm more just kind of neutral on. I like some of the Tampa bats, but I think there's much better options throughout the slate. And I'm not really into the Baltimore bats against Trevor Richards. Just kind of blah.
Yeah, I think the most important. I'm in the same boat. I'm not crazy about the Baltimore Rays game. I just think we can find the upside, in one of the other games, assuming they play. The Boston-Toronto on FanDuel, I would definitely get exposure to that. We have a 12-run total. This is not because these two teams have been lighting it up offensively. It's because the runs have just been massive in this park. So, I'm good with getting exposure to both sides and what should be kind of a bullpen-ish game for both teams. So, not terribly interested in the Baltimore or Rays game, but definitely have interest in the bats in the Toronto Reds game. With that said, back to the pitching for everything else. So I was considering, DeGrom is, at this point, you got DeGrom and Kershaw. I prefer DeGrom. I just don't like to pick on the Giants with lefties. Kershaw's an exception. He's phenomenal. He's been phenomenal this year, but I'd rather not. If I have DeGrom against the Miami, I'd rather just do that, especially when DeGrom's at home. He's always been better at home. As far as, you know what? I'm going to kick you to the mid-tier first, and then I'll give my piece on it. Oh, shit. Frozen action.
What?
Oh, you're back.
Me?
Yeah. It says poor connection. You know, it's being like very Clevenger right now.
Yeah. I think we're gonna be out. So mid-tier. Mike Fiers against Texas. I don't mind. Robbie Ray, best umpire in baseball. This is as boom bust as it gets. I will have a share of my 3 teams of Robbie Ray. I think Colorado will be pretty popular. When Robbie Ray is unowned, sucking it up, is when he posts his good game. He's got a good umpire, a team that strikes out a lot. You know, it's now or never for Robbie Ray for me. If he fails here, he's dead to me. And I'm fully expecting him to fail because he's really just not that good. He's got no control. But JPP life, this is one of those fucked up days. I'm going to roll with a little bit of Robbie Ray. And then, that's basically, I'm just going to fucking finish it. I really like Eliezer Hernandez. Popular. I think John Gray's worth a look, too, down there versus Arizona. Has not looked great this year, but I don't really see much wrong with the dude. So I think this is a spot where he can get right, even though I don't really like picking on Arizona. John Gray regression thing, and Jake Lamb is in the lineup today, so that's 3 strikeouts. So, not a ton of love on the pitching front. Just I'll be putting my pitchers in last, but Dinelson Lamet, the guy that I do really like, certainly make me really nervous, being that Seattle has the most black players, and they're talking about potentially protesting. And I don't see how that conversation ever ends in let's do nothing. So very nervous about him if I over.
Yeah, I agree. Lamet was my favorite mid-tier guy. Well, really, Sonny Gray was. I lost Sonny Gray, and then Lamet was. Obviously, we're losing Lamet. Oh, we may lose. I don't want to say. I saw a couple people in the chat asking about officially. The Brewers game is officially canceled, right? So no Brewers Reds, that's for sure. Everything else has been speculation so far. There's a bunch of teams that are talking about it. It's a very real possibility they all decide to cancel. They could,
Very.
I do think it's
playing tonight. Max entering League of Legends. Might as well just get it over with now.
Max entering League of Legends, if there's even a slate. But I do think we're gonna have to pay attention. But outside of Lamet, who's left? Clevenger, like you said, that would make me go to him, even though he is an asshole. Yes. As for that, it's really the cheap guys. Eliezer Hernandez, like you mentioned, and I actually like Kevin Gausman a little bit. Not a ton, just a little bit. He has been awesome. He did well against the Dodgers earlier this season. This Giants park has been a lot more hitter friendly than I think people realize. They did move. They did change the dimensions. They moved the bullpen in the back, and they had to bring the fences in a little bit. And there's been a ton of runs. But I don't mind Gausman, but I do prefer Eliezer as far as the cheap guys go. But now that we don't have Lametta, my pool has gotten really, really tight right now. Really tight. I may even, I don't want to play Scherzer, Kershaw, because I really believe in not picking on the Giants with lefties. But I may get a little bit of them because I just lost 2 pitchers that I was planning on having a pretty good. I didn't lose. I lost 1 pitcher in Sonny Gray. And Lamet, it's so risky right now. I don't know what to do. Who's to say they don't cancel the game after lock? Because that seems to be a thing, right? The Bucks probably knew all day they were going to cancel the games, but decided not to say it until after their game was already scheduled to start. So we could see something similar with these MLB teams if they decide to follow suit. We just don't know. We just don't know what to expect. Real quick, there is some weather in that Toronto game. Roth has it as he did like it had improved apparently. Like the rain is going to be a little bit lighter than what they showed this morning, but he still wouldn't call it safe. So I'm just going to throw that out there for y'all. By the way, we're going to call bullshit on that Yankee postponement yesterday, Braves game. There was like no rain. Didn't even rain by the time the game was starting, and they canceled that shit and just ruined everybody for no reason. So big fat fuck you to the Atlanta Braves for that one. I guess what about the bats, Paulie?
Yes, sir. Give me them bats though. What happened? Okay, never mind. So I like the.
Bro, I'm sorry, but I'm tired to interrupt. But apparently, Josh Hader like spoke a little bit about the boycott. It's like this guy, the one that they went back and found all those racist tweets. They're having him speak a little bit on the boycott and all this kind of stuff. Like, he was waiting. He was like, "This is my chance to prove I'm not racist." This is like...
Yeah. So, I like the offenses in St. Louis. I like the Kansas City Royals, and I like some of the St. Louis bats against Jacob Junis. Don't really have a ton of respect for either bullpen at this point. Very good hitting environment, and dirties may be done. I like the Oakland A's. This Colby Allard guy started off pretty well, and then has shown some serious problems the last two starts. Oakland, not a team I think you want to face when things are going wrong for you. Loaded with righties. Chris Davis back in the lineup. Very, very cheap. Laureano Canna, Mark Olson, Piscotty batting third, who's been hot. Into some of that. Although I do like Eliezer Hernandez, I do think a Mets stack would be kind of sneaky today. I think Eliezer is going to be extremely popular, especially after we lost some of that mid-tier. Guys may want to go high-low with him and a DeGrom or a Kershaw. So I do think a Mets stack would be sneaky, very high-powered offense. No one's going to be on them. And although I do like Eliezer, I do think a Mets leverage stack would make some sense. I did have interest in the Padres. I don't know how I'm going to approach that as of now, so I'm just going to mention that I do have a little bit of interest there, but, we'll wait to see how that plays out. And then I really like the Dodger bats. I think they're really getting hot. And I know Gausman did well against them the first time. I really doubt that happens the second. Give me just about everybody. Max Muncy, Betts, Turner, Cody B, Corey Seager, Jock Peterson, A.J. Pollock. I don't even mind Taylor or Will Smith. So really like the Dodgers as well. And that's kind of it. I'm not in love with a ton of bat spots today.
Yeah, I hear that. The Padres definitely were one that I'm going to have to reconsider a little bit now. But I like the Colorado Rocky game. I like both sides of that. John Gray's velocity has still been down. It was up a little bit, but it's still down 2 miles per hour from what it was last season. His swinging strike rate is down to 9%, which is really low for him. He's got a 15% K rate right now. I like both sides of that game because the same reason with Robbie Ray. I agree with Paulie that it's kind of a boomer bust. These are two guys with massive strikeout upside who have been the worst ever this year. So it could change, but in the meantime, I'm just going to ride with what's been happening. The Rockies and D-backs have both burned me this entire series, but the roof is open again. We have a 10-run total in this one, up from 9 or 9.5. So I'll be stacking both the Rockies and the D-backs and just kind of hoping that something happens if the game plays. I also like the Oakland Athletics. I know you talked about them, Paulie. They got this Allard dude. The A's are first or second in strikeouts to lefties. It's pretty absurd, but they still have a 111 WRC plus and an ISO over 200 as a team. Allard has gotten lucky a couple times and squeezed out a couple good games, but I don't think he's any good. So I do like the A's. I like the Cubs and Detroit game. Finally, as the last one. I like both sides of that. The Detroit Tigers are first in the league in strikeouts to righties. However, they're actually pretty far to somewhere in the middle of the pack against lefties. They're 22%, way less. They have positive WRC plus, like I think a 140 WRC plus against lefties. They have solid ISO, a decent WOBA, and John Lester's been just doo-doo butter. Take out the butter. That's what you're left with. So I do like Detroit. Both bullpens here are not very good. With that said, Michael Fulmer has been complete garbage as well, so I like the Cubs too. So I like that whole game. I like 2 games for offense: Colorado, Arizona, Detroit, Chicago, and then I like the A's. It's that simple. Well, again, we'll see if anything matters, if anything actually ends up playing. But it is what it is. We'll do some home runs real quick while we're waiting to find out if we're doing anything today or not.
I think DraftKings just refunded the basketball shit.
Oh, yeah?
I got more money in my...
Yeah. Holla.
Yep.
Yeah, they did. Awesome. Great. I could have used that a little bit ago. But whatever. It's all good. It's all good. Decisions were made. Things were done. Dirties too. Home runs, Paulie?
Home runs, Paulie. Give me that. I'm gonna go Crush Davis.
Crush Davis. I will go with Nolan Arenado.
All right, I'll take Ian Happ.
I will go with Ketel Marte.
Ketel Marte. I'll take Max Muncy.
How about the bad guy? Razor Ramon. He's in the lineup, right? Yeah, let's do it. Razor Ramon. All right, we'll get into some questions real quick. Let me see. NBA players are to meet at a... Marcus F., what's up, bro? Said it's his first time back since KBO, man. It feels like a long time ago, but it really wasn't. Holla. KBO grind was real.
Might be playing KBO tonight.
Oh, I know. Seriously, I might be playing KBO tonight. Yeah. Alvin Taylor says NBA players are to meet at 8 p.m. to discuss how they'll proceed with today's decision. Alvin says back to sim games. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Charles Pritt, Orlando apparently rejected the Bucks forfeit. I would assume the other teams follow. Yeah, I would assume the Reds would do the same. I mean, you literally, like, if you're in a situation like, you literally can't. Like, if you would, even if the Reds wanted to, if they were to accept the win, they would be shit on by all of them, by a lot of people, and that is not something they're trying to do. Rain in Buffalo, we talked about. Official postponement, we talked about. MG says could be no games tonight. Very real possibility. Brian, what about Barrios?
No interest for me.
Yeah, he's just sucked. He's just been really bad. I don't know what's up with him, but he's been really, really, really bad this year. And I never take Barrios on the road anyway. Let's see. It's a rule. Rules all day. Rules our day. Tony A, no Chapman in the lineup. I guess that's it, Paulie. Like I said, we're going to wait around and see if we hear anything and find out if there's any more cancellations. That's really all we can do. It's going to be a long night because unless we get all the news at once. I just hope if they decide to cancel it, they just do it all at once and say, hey, listen, all the games are done. Don't drag it out and make me do all this work of tracking this shit just to tell me that they're all canceled anyway at 10:01. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, 7's all day. But whatever they decide, they decide. Please hit the like button, guys. We'll be back whenever sports resumes. Because at this point, I have no idea what to expect. Anything in closing, Paulie?
No.
All right. For myself, for Paulie D, the entire Wise Nation, as always, good luck.
Yeah.